Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Agile to Brussels. We welcome here Amber Vandenberg, um, who will talk about cultivating a culture of creativity, collaboration, and captainship. So, thank you, Amber, for joining us. I let you the stage.
All right, thank you very much for having me here today. I gave you a tough alliteration within the title: creativity, collaboration, and captainship. Hello, everyone. My name is Amber Vanderburg, and we're just going to jump in. I have a couple questions for you. We're going to put them in the chat. So let's see here. I have a question. Would you rather have to fight a dragon or a dinosaur? A dragon or a dinosaur? We're going to put this into an activity. Would you rather take on a dragon or a dinosaur? I'll tell you what. We're seeing okay, this is the land of dragons. Okay. All right. So we're going to take on a dragon. Okay. People are excited for this. All right. So I'm curious, if we're going to take on a dragon, what would be your, like, we're going to have to fight this. What's going to be your weapon of choice? And you can't say a gun. You have to use something other than a gun. What's going to be your weapon of choice? Is it going to be a spear? Is it going to be a slingshot? A wand? Okay, all right. We got a wand. We got magic. Clearly, we're in the land of dragons. There has to be magic. Okay, how are we going to plan? Like, how are we going to prepare to take on this dragon? Like, what's going to be our prep? Do we need to look at their sleep habits? Do we need to look on where they're flying? What's the information that we're going to need to take on this dragon with our magic? What do we need to study about them? Ha ha ha. We need to study their weaknesses. Yeah, all right. We have a good prep of attack. Okay. So let's say we're taking on this dragon. What how, or let me ask it this way. Who do we need to include in this battle? Are we going to take it on solo? I mean, we have a lot of magic. Do we need to include anyone else? Like a dragon specialist? Maybe might want a wizard, someone that knows. Exactly. So some people may want. So we're gonna need a priest and a warrior. I love it. I love it. We're gonna need a priest and a warrior. All right. So we actually had the option take on a dinosaur. This conversation probably would have gone a lot differently, but instead we've decided to take on a dragon. Now, there's a lot of people that could have chosen to take on a dragon. We have chosen to take on a dragon, but the way that we're standing out is not necessarily the challenge that we're undertaking, but really our approach and how we are going to defeat this dragon. Whenever I think of this, I actually think of a very popular book by a fellow by the name of Simon Sinek. And he writes that organizations many times know what they do, but they don't know why they do it. So he came up with this concept called the Golden Circle. And he wrote a book called Start with Why. And so he writes that this is not an avocado, this is a golden circle. He writes that many organizations know what they do. And some might know how they do it, but many don't know why. And so in his book, he encourages us to start with why. But here's what I found. Whenever I work with teams and whenever I work with organizations, many times companies and teams may have the same why. Why do we want to defeat a dragon? Well, There could be many warriors that want to defeat a dragon for the prestige of beating a dragon. If there's a dragon that's attacking the town, then everyone wants to defeat the dragon to keep their town safe. Everybody has the same why, but not everyone is necessarily all successful. Whenever I'm working with organizations, I've worked with a lot of healthcare organizations that have a common goal. They have a mission of better patient care. They want healthier communities. I've worked with several higher education institutions, and they have a goal of student success. And several years ago, whenever I had the opportunity to become the only American, the only female, the only Christian, and the only blonde academy football coach or soccer coach for the Adidas Game Day Academy and Paris Saint-Germain, PSG Academy, in Bangalore, India, we were working with a lot or competing against a lot of other academies that had a goal of creating better environments for our players, right? So creating an environment for success on and off of the pitch. Now, this is a worthy why. This is and should be the driving factor of the industry. We should want educational institutions that are devoted to and are driven by a why of wanting to see student success in life. Whenever I joined the academy, we had a why of equipping our players for success on and off of the pitch. But even though I coached a lot of different teams and we competed against other academies with similar whys, the difference, our competitive advantage, our ability to be creative was not necessarily in the why, but in the how. Here's what we found. You have to start with why. We must start with why. We must start with our purpose. Hear me out. Why has a critical, a vital role in our teams. We must start with why, because we must have a purpose behind our actions. We also need to know what we are doing. So this is our why, and this is our what. And our what and our why actually act as guardrails to keep us within our scope and what we should be doing within our how. And while our why is our purpose and our vision and why we're doing what we're doing, and while we must start with why to lay a foundation, so if we're not starting with why, then we won't have a foundation to build upon. We have to start with why. We need to know what we're doing. It's this area in between, in the how, that we actually can establish a way to be uniquely better. So a way that we establish our competitive advantage. See, many academies in football, they had a goal of student success and player success on and off of the pitch. While many organizations had a similar goal, how we did that was through a variety of different processes, projects, methods, and roles. May I say that again? We had different processes, methods, projects, and roles. And it was within these 4 opportunities for ownership within the how that we were able to establish our competitive advantage. I apologize. Whenever I first joined the team, I joined the academy and I discovered that our team was focusing not on the why, but they were focusing on the what and the how. Now, whenever we do this, it becomes very task oriented, right? So do this and do it this way. And so we didn't have a purpose. And so what it looked like is we had people that would come to sessions and they would stand in a line, kick a ball, wait for instruction. And they would come to our sessions and they would stand in a line, kick a ball, wait for direction. And they would come to sessions and they would stand on a line, kick a ball, wait for more instruction. And while this may be an efficient way to teach a skill, in a game scenario, it was a disaster. We actually had players within the course of a match that would kick the ball perfectly, and before the play was even over, they'd turn to the sideline to the coach for further direction and feedback. See, they had mastered the task, but they didn't quite understand how it applied to the overall game scenario. And so, what we did is we simply stopped. And we stopped over commanding the how. We started clearly communicating our why and our what, and then allowed opportunities for ownership within the how, within processes, methods, projects, and roles. So what? We have why. In application, it looked a little something like this. Rather than stand on a line, kick a ball, wait for instruction, we provided challenges. So from here, kick the ball to knock down those 3 cones. Because in order to do that, you're going to have to kick with power and precision. And in a game scenario, whenever you pass, whenever you kick, whenever you shoot, you're also going to have to kick with power and precision. From challenges like these, I saw some of the most heated debates I'd ever seen amongst 7-year-olds, trying to decide if the best way to kick the ball was with the infoot or with the laces. In reality, both ways were right. And so we were able to expand our toolbox of resources for our players. And so now they could rely on not just one way to kick the ball, but they had at least 2 tools in their toolbox. Notice this was not a dramatic change in our communication, but really a slight shift. And it brings me to my first point. In order to create an opportunity for more creativity, we must create opportunities for ownership. And we do that we create ownership by clearly communicating our why and our what, and then allowing opportunities for ownership specifically within our methods, our processes, our projects, and our roles. Now, I can share this story, but let's go through an activity of how we can do this right now. I want you to imagine that you are in your company and you're trying to work on your projects. Your main method of communication within your internal communication is through email. And so your company comes and they say, we need new platforms of communication because we want faster communication. We want more clearly organized communication. And we want to be able to have more interaction and engagement within our communication. Okay. So this is what our task is. Here's what I want you to do. Sorry, I have lots of games around here trying to find. Here's my marker. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to pull out a piece of paper. And I want you to draw one line across here. So you have one vertical line. And then draw one horizontal line. And then you're going to draw 3 vertical lines. Our goal is to create a platform that has faster communication, more organized communication, and has a platform for better engagement. We're doing that because, why? Because we want better engagement within our internal communication. We're seeing some frustration, we're seeing miscommunication, we're seeing slower communication, and we want to be a more communicative organization. Here's our why. We're trying to create a healthier work environment for our team by having more communication. What our task is to create a platform that has better communication. We know our what and our why. Now, how are we going to do this? I'm going to give you 20 seconds per box to draw. That's right, we're going to draw a picture. I am also not an artist. I want you to draw a feature or an idea or a platform, something that you can do to help increase this communication, to better improve this communication platform. Okay, it could be a specific feature, it could be a full platform. I want you to draw a way that you are going to help improve this challenge, right? Contribute to the improvement within this challenge. All right, I'm going to give you 20 seconds now. Whenever you finish 20 seconds, I'm going to say next. You're going to go to this next box, and I want you to draw a completely different idea of how you can improve. And we'll do this 8 different times. So you'll have 20 seconds per box. Whenever I say next, you immediately leave. You go to the next box. We're going to draw some way to improve that communication within the team in this platform. I'm going to open it up. What questions do you have for me? Don't see any questions. Okay. All right. Let me get ready. On your mark, get set, go. All right, next box. Play some music. All right, you're on that next box. All right, next box. You just had to give it a taste. And I'm trying to be a friend, but I fear I disalend. Don't say I didn't want you when you're sweating in the face. All right, next box. This is gonna go fast. You feel the heat, I can see, I can see. You look at the sympathy and I feel. Not yet. All right, next box. You should be on box number 5. This is whenever it gets really challenging. I'm gonna push you to go even further. All right, you're on that next box. You're almost there. Don't give up. All right, next box. You're almost there. All right, you're on that last box. Encourage you, continue a fresh new idea. Three, 2, 1. All right. It's one of my favorite songs about hot sauce. So, all right, give me some feedback on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being that was the hardest thing ever. Don't ever make me do that again. 1 being that was super easy. I could have come up with 5 more ideas. Give me some feedback. How was that activity? Sometimes I get about a 3. Yep, usually that's the most common I get is that was pretty difficult. Yeah. Yeah, a good 3, 4, yeah. 8 boxes is a lot. Generally, what I find is the first row, there's some fresh ideas that you have. And then once you get to box 6, 7, 8, yeah, it gets pretty difficult. And 20 seconds is not a long time. That 20 seconds feels like it gets shorter and shorter every time. Um, but this is I love this activity because here we have to have a clear what and why, right? So if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing or what that purpose is, then this activity won't work as well. But this, we have clarified our what and our why, and then we've allowed space within the how. We only have 20 seconds to come up with 8 major ideas. And generally in boxes 6, 7, and 8, they get a little creative on what we can do. But we have some different ideas. Now, I told you I'm not an artist. These are not great photos, right? These aren't meant to be super great, but they can encourage conversation. Now, what I'll do is I'll do this within my team. We actually do this to set expectations as well as problem solve. And then we can share. If we're in person, then we will actually share the papers. If we are virtual, then we can put this all into a chat and we can collaborate and give explanations and have communication from there. So this is I love it. It's a simple activity, only takes a couple of minutes, and gets a lot of ideas out. I'm curious if someone would be so bold, if they would like to share some of the ideas, actually type out some of the things that you drew and what they represent and how we're going to improve this communication platform for our internal communication. Someone wants to put that in the chat. Couple of things that I did is I put like a hashtag similar to, I put a hashtag so we can organize communication a little better. Instead of having voice capabilities, so if I just want to listen to it like a voicemail, then I can do that. Something else that I put was having better sharing. Actually, this one is better like public communication. So if you have major announcements, you can put that more on a board. Yeah. And so these are just different ideas, right? Different ideas that we can use to increase our internal communication. Now, whenever I do an activity like this, I like it for a few reasons. First off, we have a time box. Oh, yes, I'm seeing screens. I love that. First off, we have a time box. Many times, whenever we are creative problem solving or trying to figure out our best how, we can get lost in the ideation phase. So we're here in Agile. Many of you know about design thinking. So going from ideation to implementation tends to be a major area where people get a bit trapped. They might feel very stuck. And so actually time boxing, these are the decisions we're going to make, right? This is the ideas that we have. And then we'll time box and say, this is how long we're going to discuss these ideas. And then within the next, area of time for smaller decisions, it could be, okay, we need to make a decision in the next 20 minutes, right? In the course of this meeting. Others, it could be by Friday, we need to make a decision. So you do need to look at the scope, but either way, we're going to time box it. We've worked with many organizations that might have a person on the team that loves to share a lot of ideas. They might like to contest or play devil's advocate against other ideas as well. Both are completely acceptable, right? In fact, encouraged. We want to have this conversation. What we don't want to do is have mass ideation or that mass contestment overtake our ability to make a decision and move forward into implementation. So what we'll do is we'll actually set aside a time and say, okay, for the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about some of these ideas. We're going to share the ideas. We're going to time box time to contest or discuss reasons why those ideas could work, would not work, different innovative problem solving. Then we're going to make a decision and move forward. We can also, more ideally, build upon those ideas. So I'm seeing someone put screens. That's fantastic, right? So we can add that into maybe some of the ideas that somebody else has written down. So then we can build upon one another as well. So I like this activity, first off, because it lays a foundation for a time box. And we can create similar time boxes, probably not 20 seconds, but similar time boxes throughout our ideation sessions. And this is within our culture. So whenever people come into our team, they recognize that whenever we have a meeting, we're not going to have a 1 hour meeting that goes into 3 hours, right? We're going to time box that and really be mindful of the time that we've committed. And so what we will do is say, okay, this is the time we really want to dedicate to ideation. We're going to be really creative in our problem solving. Okay, this is the time we've dedicated to actually discussing that implementation and the follow through. So that's our first point. The second is that this activity illustrates the power of a bit of quiet time, or time without everybody speaking. Whenever we're looking at organizational dynamics, there are generally those that love to talk. They are verbal processors. That is me. All right. I am a verbal processor. But I recognize that there are others on our team that are more quiet processors, right? So they are audibly less loud. And it is important to have both on a team. But we must create an environment and create a culture where both ideas are going to have a platform to be heard. By taking a moment, it could be through drawing photos, it could be through writing out ideas. We have a member on our team that is brilliant, but is more soft spoken, more quiet. And so we actually create space for the individual to share. This person creates more PowerPoints. That's their form of expression. So they'll say, okay, I had this idea, and this idea. And before we really started asking for that and creating a space, those ideas weren't being shared as much. And so we had a time for quiet. Everybody has 8 ideas now, minimum. And everyone has a platform in which they can share. Imagine if I would have at a roundtable just said, what ideas do you have? That would have opened it up to discussion initially. And those with quieter voices are less likely to truly be heard. So there's something powerful about taking a time for quiet time. This is time for individual reflection. Notice, while it was a short amount of time, it was a challenge. I saw 3, 4s, and 5s on how challenging this was. We pushed the limits of creativity within a short amount of time. So that's the first thing that we did. We also created a platform for those to share ideas, which will move into our collaboration section, to share ideas, to really get a more holistic view of the innovative solutions within the team. Whenever we are taking time to share, one thing that I will also do is take the time, if I can, if it's possible, to send out the agenda beforehand. Some of the most brilliant minds that we have worked with may not come up with their best 8 ideas in the first 20 seconds. But if we kept up this challenge tomorrow and did this 8-box challenge, the ideas would probably be different and they might be significantly better. And so if we're able to give people time to prep, and even if they don't know the full context, have some context of where they can pull their inspiration and ideation from, then the results could be different. Now, this has a lot to do with the dynamics of the team. There are some people, I am one of them, who, if we bring up a problem, I'm going to come up with a lot of solutions very, very quickly. And these are going to be the solutions that I will probably come up with for tomorrow, right? Like these are the things that I really, really stand by. Whereas other people, their ideas are going to evolve within the first few hours. So it takes them a little bit longer as those ideas are evolving. But the result is really rich. So we need to accommodate with both. Whenever we are creating a culture of creativity, we begin by clarifying why we're doing what we're doing. This is our foundation. We must start with why. We need to make sure we know what we're doing. But our opportunities for ownership, it's our opportunity to be uniquely better, our opportunity to be creative in our problem solving, is where we are truly innovative as a team. So let me grab my piece of paper here. This is going to be within our processes, methods, projects, and roles. Perfect. So these are our opportunities for ownership. Many times we'll say, hey, we need to provide opportunities for ownership within the how, and that's very, very vague. So this is more of a framework that you can use and say, how can we be more innovative? Let me ask it this way. How can we be uniquely better in our processes? This could be our process of communication. It could be our process of actually completing a task. This could be the process in which we are coming up with ideas. I am based here in the United States. There are a lot of fast food restaurants here. Different fast food restaurants will have you order their food differently. Their process of ordering food is different, and that has an impact on the customer experience. That has an impact on the culture. There's one fast food restaurant where you go up and you touch a screen and you order your food. There's another fast food restaurant where somebody comes up to you and they're speaking with you and they say your first name. That process directly affects the culture. This is our opportunity to be uniquely better. You look at, same with our methods. Processes and methods get confused quite a bit. Process is how you do a series of tasks. Methods is one task. We have our projects. So this is within the football team, within PSG. We had a goal to help, we had a why, to help our team be successful on and off the pitch. One project that we did is we actually initiated a program where our students were going through a program on proactive career planning, right? So this is my goal for education. This is my goal for my career. What are we going to do? Then you can also have opportunities for ownership or opportunities to be creative or innovative in your problem solving within your role. Now, your role is not necessarily your position. It's not necessarily your job title. Your role could be your role as the encourager, as the gatekeeper, as the devil's advocate, right? So here's your opportunity to be uniquely better. And so whenever we're working with teams and they say, hey, we want to build our culture, we're going to start with our why. Well, we need to make sure we know what we're doing, but we're going to start with our why. And then we're going to ask, whenever you're building your culture, what do your processes look like? What do your methods look like? What about your projects? What projects are you using to reiterate your why? Your projects and your why should be aligned in some regard. Same with your roles. How do they go back? So here we're able to be very specific to provide opportunities for ownership within our teams and within our organization to be uniquely better. Now, as we've provided these opportunities for ownership, it's important to know that we don't want, or we can't have an entire organization of individuals all with their own ideas of how we're going to do the process. We have to have some sort of continuity and collaboration, right? And so it's from here that we took the time to do the 8-box challenge, where everybody was given a space to come up with their own ideas. And then we move to a platform where we can effectively collaborate and share ideas in a meaningful way. So then we can move from that ideation, that creative problem solving, to implementation, which is our collaboration. I want to pause right here and ask what questions you have for me. I know that this concept is, sometimes I get a few questions within this area. So I want to pause and see what questions you have. Okay. All right. I'm not seeing any questions so far. So we'll go ahead and move forward. So whenever I am creating that opportunity or that environment or culture for collaboration, I've first created that environment for creative problem solving. Now we're moving into collaboration. It is critical in this moment. I just got off a collaboration call with my team, with the Pathways group. We are building some new content for some organizations that we're working with in leadership development. And so we really approached this collaboration idea from a inquisitive mindset. So I, as I am leading the meeting, am not necessarily providing a ton of my personal insights. Instead, I'm asking truly meaningful questions to try and challenge my team and their collaboration. We emphasize a culture of not having one right answer. Right? So sometimes we have people within our team that have many answers, and we are able to take many of those ideas and have build one solution. All right, I'm seeing many questions coming in here. How can we create a team spirit around an idea of a process or method to everybody agree with it? This is a great question. How can we manage the wide concept? All right, I'm gonna answer the first one. First, and then I'll move to the second. How can we create a team spirit around an idea of a process or method that everybody agrees with? So within your process, we're actually going to move back into this context again, right? So we have our organizational why. Okay, let me give an example. I had to think of the example. So we have our organizational why. Whenever I was coaching football, our why is that we wanted to equip our students, equip our players for success on and off the pitch. What we were doing is we were coaching football. The process in which we were coaching beforehand was stand in a line, kick a ball, wait for instruction. Now we're going to shift our process because we had new coaches come into the organization that challenged the processes that we had, and we were challenging norms. And so we had a discussion on if we wanted to adopt a different process. So then we brought in a new process of, rather than send in a line, kick a ball, wait for instruction, we're going to provide challenges. So from here, kick the ball to knock down these cones. This new process better equips our students in their decision-making process so that they can be more successful on the pitch and off the pitch. And it does align with the what of kicking the football, right? So we actually were able to bring this process and to align this new process with this what and this why. So bringing it back to the purpose is really powerful. So that's the first thing. The second is we allow opportunity for failure, right? So we allow people to try different things. I was working with one team that we were going through the process of assigning different positions, different frameworks on the pitch. We were playing 11 aside, and so we were learning different positions. And I said, okay, I'm going to give you a few minutes. Decide if you want to play 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-3-3. So different formations on the pitch. And the team came in and said, we want to have 10 strikers and a goalie, and 11 strikers and a goalie, and that's what we're going to do. And and I said, okay. He said, we all want to score goals. This is what we're going to do. I said, okay, I'm going to let you go ahead and try this. And so they did. They tried. And I asked, okay, it was a mess. They were running into each other. There was a lot of frustration. They weren't moving the ball forward very well. The other team was very well positioned to move forward. And this was a practice game, so it wasn't really high stakes, but I could see the frustration. And so then we were able to have a conversation. So what can you do a little bit differently? What can we do a little bit differently? And it was from then that they were able to see the importance of the different positions on the pitch. You can't have every single person in the same position because you'll all be running into each other in this one spot on the pitch. And you can't pass to anyone because you're all in the same spot. So the second thing that you can do is honestly beta test it. Say, okay, let's try it out. If the team is not coming, let's say that the team decided, Ember, we still all want to be strikers. We want to play this single position. Then I, at that point, might make a suggestion and say, hey, let's try this other process and see if this works better. All right. So then we're going to try it as a suggestion. If there's still a lot of resistance or lack of alignment within the process, then I'm going to consistently, throughout this process, be looking for understanding, right? So is this process that you're suggesting, is it actually better? Is this a place for us to collaborate? And so then I'm really going to take the time to reassess to see if there's a way that we can do improve our process or merge our processes to actually improve. I don't know if that fully answered your question. Those are a few tips that you can use to align opportunities for ownership. Let's see here. I see how do you manage the why in the context of external collaborations with external other organizations? Ooh, that's a fantastic question. Yeah, answered. Very good. I would begin by asking what their why is and by clarifying what your why is. So that's going to be the first thing, is just clarity. If you have a massive disconnect between the two, you're going to have a very meaningful conversation. It's going to be critical that you have a conversation to get some sort of alignment. What you might have to do is you're going to have to create some understanding of, this is our values, and now we're understanding your values. Let's come up with a new team set of ground rules and standards. So that's going to be the first thing. Yeah, many times if there is a misalignment of why, generally it begins with them being uncommunicated. So people don't know what the why is. Yeah. Perfect. So we have just a few minutes left. I want to open up to any other questions. Yeah. We were working with one organization that did have a different why from us. Like it was pretty like significantly different why from us. And so what we had to do is we had to say, this is our internal organization. This is our why. This team, these few people from our team that are collaborating with this team, we have a different set of ground rules and standards that we're going to, we're not going to compromise, but we're going to make these clear understandings, right? So these are the non-negotiable values that we have to bring within this or this team, right? And then they brought in a few, and then we were able to create a full value contract. That's what we called it, as a full value contract for our team. Cool. Great. Well, I know I only have a couple of minutes left. One thing that I really want to leave you with is one last story. And I know I've told a lot of football stories today. I wasn't intending to tell as many, but there's a lot of similarities between football and team development within our organizations. And we've learned a lot of different terms of specific opportunities for ownership, clarifying that what and why. We've gone through a couple activities to increase that communication, that creativity, and that collaboration. And sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming with all of these new ideas. I know that you've been in this conference almost all day. So we're towards the end of the day for many of you. And it reminds me of one of my youngest players that I ever coached. His name was Achintya. Now, Achintya was 6 years old, and he was so excited for his first day of football. And so he came running out onto the field and he began yelling, "Pass, pass, pass!" Now I noticed that Achintya was yelling pass even whenever the other team had the ball. And Achintya was yelling pass even whenever he was miles away from the action. And Achintya was yelling pass even whenever he had the ball. So then he was running with the ball going, "Pass, pass, pass." And so I looked at Achintya and I said, "Achintya, why are you yelling pass?" And he looked up at me and he said, "Miss Ember, ma'am, I do not know what it means. I only know it is a football word." Sometimes I hear organizations and leaders sound a little bit like my friend Achintya, yelling, "Communication, leadership, teamwork, collaboration, we got this, woo!" Because we know that these are really good words that can lead to big goals. But if we're in the wrong position, if we're miles away from the action, or even if we have the ball and we don't know in which direction we're going, then saying these words are not only ineffective, but they're actually detrimental to our overall communication within our team. But if we first take the time to lay a foundation for great performance within our team by first communicating that what and that why, and then providing opportunities for ownership within our processes, our methods, our projects, and our roles. If we take the time to be mindful of the team dynamics within our organization, so that we can create a safe environment for people to share and collaborate in a true, meaningful manner, then we'll be in a position to yell pass, to receive the ball, to move forward, and to score really big goals within our organizations. I want to thank you all so much for having me here today. I'd love to continue the conversation. You can find me anywhere on social media. I'm the only Amber Vanderburg. So I'd love to connect and continue the conversation. I think you have a couple more sessions left for today. So please continue to go forth and lead your organizations with confidence so that you can say pass and really score big goals. Thank you.
I want the ball pass. Thank you, really. Thank you, Amber, for this great session. Not station, session, sorry. I invite all attendees to join the next session, the closure session. You were the last one of the day, but okay, let me check. Yeah, yeah. I you were the last one of the day. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your session. It was really interesting. You can join us to the closure session if you want. Maybe we will see you in person in a future session in Belgium
Yes.
after all the
I'm
situation we
preparing my
all live.
stomach for waffles.
Okay, no problem.
I love
We
it.
all write down this. Okay,
I love it.
thank you very much. What time is it near you?
It's about noon, so about lunchtime for me.
Okay, so enjoy your lunch, and we are going to end our day because here it's almost 7 p.m.
Ah,
So
okay.
have a enjoy your meal and have a nice day.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good
Thank you
one.
very much.
Bye.
Bye. Uh, Rendezvous to all the attendees in the other session we will just launch just after. Thank you very much.